Hi class, I wanted to work a few problems like ones that you might see in our first learning plan in MA 1500. And you've probably noticed already that this first learning plan includes a lot of different topics. There's some review of things that you probably should have already learned in a prior math or algebra class. Things like how to calculate expressions or evaluate expressions using the order of operations, or how to work with scientific notation. So there's quite a bit of that that you'll have to work pretty hard on to master in this first learning plan. But those are all tools that we're going to be needing throughout the course. The problems that I've picked here to work are ones that do include algebra and solving equations or simplifying equations. So I just kind of wanted to walk you through the process here. This right here is an algebra expression. It's not an equation because there's no equal sign. And the instructions for this problem are to simplify the expression. Whenever we're trying to simplify an algebraic expression, what we're first going to do is remove any parentheses. And the way that we remove parentheses in algebra is we use what's called the distributive property. And all that means is that the distributive property means that if I have a multiplication outside of parentheses, like in this case I have a 2 in front of the parentheses, and here I have a minus 2 in front of the parentheses, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take that and I'm going to distribute the multiplication to each of the terms inside. And so that's what I'm going to do here to remove those parentheses. So I'll leave the minus 4x here, but now I'm going to take this plus 2 and multiply it by negative 3x, so that's negative 6x. I'm next going to take positive 2 times positive 6, which is positive 12. I come over here to the next set of parentheses, and here I'm distributing a negative 2. Negative 2 times 2x is a negative 4x. And then negative 2 times a positive 6 is negative 12. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to combine like terms. So what I've got here is I've got a negative 4x, a negative 6x, and a negative 4x. I can combine those into one term. So minus 4x, take away 6x is negative 10x. And then take away another 4x, I'm at negative 14x. Then I look at what I've got for the constants here, and I've got a plus 12 and a minus 12. And plus 12 minus 12 is 0. So this whole expression simplifies down to a negative 14x. The next problem that I wanted to work is an algebra problem where we're actually solving an equation. Now, I am going to, as a first step in solving this equation, I am going to remove the parentheses using the distributive property. So I will rewrite the left-hand side, and then I'll take this 3 and I'll distribute it to each of the terms inside. That gives me 3x, and then 3 times a negative 1 is negative 3. And that was the distributive property that I just used there. Now the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to try to get the x's all on one side. So I've got a 3x over here and I have a 2x. What I'm going to do is I'm going to subtract 2x from both sides. And when I do that, 2x minus 2x is 0. I still have a minus 6 there. 3x minus 2x is 1x, and I have a minus 3. And that's what we call the addition property of equality. And the addition property of equality says that if I add something to one side, I have to add something, that same thing, to the other side in order to maintain the equality. And you might say, well, you didn't add here, you subtracted. But remember, subtraction is the same as adding a negative. So this is where I'm at this point. Well, I'm trying to get x isolated by itself. So what I'm going to do now is I am going to add 3 to both sides, because that will get rid of the minus 3 on the right side. So minus 3 plus 3 is 0. It leaves me an x right here. And then negative 6 plus 3 is a negative 3. And that's the solution right there. Or it should be, right? X equals negative 3. We can always check our solution by going back to the original equation that we started with and take the value that we have here, this minus 3, and we're going to take it back here and we're going to plug it in wherever we have an x in the original equation. So we'll do that. So I have 2 times a negative 3 minus 6 is equal to 3 times a negative 3 minus 1. Well, over on the left-hand side, that's a negative 6 minus 6. On the right-hand side, I've got 3 times a negative 3 minus 1, which is negative 4. Minus 6 is minus 12. And 3 times minus 4 is a negative 12. So because I have a true equation, a true statement in my check, that is the confirmation that my answer, x equals negative 3, is correct. The next problem is a word problem. And I wanted to show how to solve this using algebra and not actually trying to do it by trial and error. Here the problem states that a new tire costs $101.65, including the 7% sales tax. So the question is, what is the price of the tire before the tax? So what we're going to do is we're going to let x equal, our variable, equal what it is that we're looking for, which is the before tax price of the tire. And then next, what I'm going to do is write a statement or an equation that comes from the words that we have there. Now, if I have a tire and x is its price, the sales tax on that is going to be computed by taking 0.07 times the price of the tire. So that's how we would compute the tax. So that right there is the tax. Well, then what do we do with the tax once we compute it? We add it to whatever the price is, because that's what the sales tax is. It's taking a percentage of the price and then adding it to the price. So that is right there, of course, the before tax price, which we knew because that's how we defined x. But the problem tells us that the sum of the tax charged plus the before tax price is equal to $101.65. I now have an algebra problem. I have 0.07x plus x. I can combine those two terms into 1.07x because those are like terms. 1x plus 0.07x is 1.07x, and that's equal to $101.65. Well, to solve for x, I'm going to divide both sides by 1.07. I'll go ahead and pull my calculator up if I can. Don't know if you can see that. Hopefully you can. There is my calculator. I am now going to take 101.65 and I will divide that by 1.07 and I get 95. And so those cancel. I get x equals $95. That is the before sales price tax. Before the sales tax price of the tire, $95. Okay, I hope that helps. That takes us to the end of our video. If you have any questions about any of the problems here, or if you want to see another problem worked, drop me an email or put a note in our discussion forum. Okay. Good luck this week, and I'll talk to you real soon.